Right, so welcome back to what is it? It's the Easier Talk. We've been away for almost 2 months. Ah, how time flies. So a lot has happened in the last 2 months, and it's Friday. It's 7 p.m. depending where you are in the world. If you're in Colombia, it's just past 1 p.m. Jonathan.
Yeah.
So Friday,
Lunchtime.
yeah. So Friday means it must be the East. I just love that intro. Love it. So yeah, so like I was saying, welcome back to the User Talk, the channel actually for Arsenal fans all over the world, Cannon Pro TV that is. And back after almost 2 months, we've got the Minister of Information, Bob Wright, IG. IG, how are you, mates?
Doing great. I think much excited about the game next week. Not at all disheartened with the results for the practice games, but definitely looking forward to what is actually going to happen next week. And great to be back on Cannon Ford and finally seeing this segment. I mean, always excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Kind words. I paid him to say that, James. Bottom left, James Rowe. How are you, James?
Hello. I'm well, thank you. Good to be back on again, and nice to be part of it as usual.
Yeah, and like I said, we were just talking very briefly before we went live. James is going to be talking about some of his interviews, absolutely fantastic interviews that he's been doing over the last since March the 16th.
Yeah, middle of March. I've been ever so fortunate. I think Alexander Butner last Tuesday was the 65th interview since 16th of March. So very, very busy, but it provides great content. And my latest interview with Warren Feeney was released this afternoon, so people can take a look at that. And it's just about keep producing quality. Just keep making sure that everything is spot on, and looking forward to how future interviews are also received.
Okay, and then top right we've got a new face. We'd like to have new people on the channel, Cannon Pro TV. We have Jonathan from Colombia, Ghana. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm really fine to be here. Clearly, lunchtime, Friday, 1 p.m. And I'm hoping we have a great time here.
IG will tell you, the Minister of Information, that we always have a great time here. Isn't that right,
Yeah.
IG?
We always do, but we need to have two more players into the mix, because that would be the most wonderful time if those two people are here around.
All right, okay. I'll try and remember that one. Right, so yeah, the Easy Talk is back. As I said, a lot has happened, and my brother and myself, we decided 3 weeks ago, unbeknownst to us, that the Premier League was going to come back, and Arsenal are going to be playing against Man City. So we won't get into the preview just yet. But the first one we wanted to talk about was about the Premier League. It's come back, even in these days of the coronavirus. The Premier League, is it coming back? Is it motivated by the money? Is it because of the money, James?
I think so. I think one of the things that's really perturbed me personally is people will know the English football pyramid. It's the lifeblood of English football from top to bottom, from Premier League down to League Two, down to Conference. It's the lifeblood. It's the fact that young players at all different levels have that dream to make it and play at the highest level that they possibly can. And I found it strange the way that the non-league took a decision, and then League Two and League One took subsequent decisions that were different to the non-league, and then Championship and Premier League decided to actually play. And I may call me old-fashioned, but if you had a strong backbone and a strong governing body, it would be the same for all leagues. But obviously, the money involved in the Premier League is just too much to not have it be played, and the ramifications of potential relegation, for example, because although there's lots of comments every year, the fact remains that 3 clubs will always go down. It's a fact. But yeah, I've looked at it from afar, and I thought, you know, not just because my team plays in the top division. I look at the bigger picture. You know, I just thought that if you're going to do something for one league in the pyramid, you've got to do it for all of them. So yeah, interesting to see how it will happen, but we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, nice to have football back, but personally.
Yeah. Okay. Jonathan, what do you think? You know, money motivated to get the Premier League back.
A hard question. We think that for the people of England, football is cultural. You know, our perception is that football is more than activity. It's like an artistical and familiar issue there. And we consider it's important to restart with high health protocols. Of course, it's clear that there is a monetary issue that drives the decision. However, in particular for the British and for the people of England, there is a much stronger passion issue, a message for the people in which they clearly make it clear that football doesn't stop, even for World War or pandemia. Football is a natural part of your culture, of the movement of the people. I think is a message. It's what we see from Colombia. You know, is what we see from here. I don't know if we have a mistake or not, but is what we feel. You know.
But isn't Colombia? I mean, I'm not going to say all Colombian people, but football in Colombia, people are more, I won't say fanatical, but they're very passionate. No,
yeah. We have a lot of passionate, and we have a lot of passion here, and a lot of things in our people. But it's not the same. It's not the same feeling. It's just a small part of the people maybe going to the stadium. Maybe we don't feel the stadium each weekend, and so it's very different. You know, is very different, the feeling and the culture, and so it's.
Okay. Minister of Information, money motivated.
I think I can say yes and no, both to that question, because yes, in terms of if the Premier League doesn't go on, and if they actually think of scrapping the league, I think all the 20 teams have to pay somewhere around 786 million pounds as a rebate back to the broadcasting. And plus, not only this, I think they have to pay a lot of amount of money back to the season ticket holders. They would have to pay them back. So it's pretty much clear that they are going to lose a hell lot of money. And teams like Arsenal and Manchester United are the top two teams which earn maximum from match day revenues. So they even playing behind closed doors, they're going to lose a lot amount of money. So yes, it is money driven totally. But I think Premier League has taken the most safest route compared to the other leagues, because Bundesliga started first, and that they have taken an idea from them as well. And actually, the steps that have been taken forward, like social distancing rules via training, and initially nobody could train not more than a group of 3 people can train together. And then after having weekly tests of COVID-19, where they initially saw 6 positive tests followed by 2 and then 1, so they were quite happy with it. And then they allowed for group training, and eventually practice games as well. So I think the way that Premier League has taken the approach, I think they're doing a lot in terms of safety is concerned. Plus recently, I think I saw the rules that they have passed for the match day, that is providing somewhere around 39 to 40 passes only to the people in the obviously played behind closed doors, but only all the rules like social distancing, like all the people will be seated quite far off from each other, and also not many people are allowed in the stadium as well. So I think in terms of safety purposes, we have to go about it. I think people who are actually at home, even if they want football back. But I think thank God that the way the coronavirus numbers are increasing in UK. I think thank God Premier League did not start as soon as Bundesliga started, because it would have been a mayhem then. So I think the way they are doing it is in a much more safer way. Definitely, La Liga started yesterday, and I think we are going to play the first. We are going to play before the start of Serie A as well. So I think money driven completely, yes, because they are doing everything possible for finishing this season as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, to enforce social distancing while the players are playing. I mean, Arsenal lost against Brentford the other day, and some people might say the defense took social distancing to another level. But that's just going to be a different story.
Well, can I come into it, because Tottenham lost to Norwich right now, I think 2-1, and Manchester United won a game and lost a game against West Brom in a friendly. So I think we're not far off from them.
Oh, dearie me. All right, okay. Listen, the next segment, we're actually just talking about money motivated. A real bone of content for me personally is a chap we got from Chelsea, another cast off from Chelsea, David Luiz. I read in the news that there's been somewhat of £24 million to get this guy at Arsenal, Jonathan. £6 million in agent fees, £8 million as a transfer fee, and then £10 million in his salary, his wages.
And I told you it was for free. I don't know. I can tell you. I believe that it was a bet by a assassinate player, a player with, I don't know, blood and passion. However, in what he played, he had a bit of bad luck sometimes, and sometimes some mistakes. I think that getting out of him at this time is not easy, since replacement is required.
Yeah.
We definitely did not learn the lesson of Karlstrom, Lichtsteiner, Sej, Benajun. Good guys with good pass, we didn't learn the lesson. And what we need in this moment is a top defense in his prime moment, in a proven one. We need to repeat the bet like Aubameyang. That is not really a bet. Just put money and just a little bit more. I thought that Luiz was free. I thought until this moment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
James, I know we spoke on the last Easter talk. I think we spoke very briefly about David Luiz and his desire to return back to Benfica. And from what I remember, you said, then why did he sign for Arsenal? If he's so determined to go to Benfica, why did he sign for Arsenal? And then we see the figures there: £24 million, James. Your thoughts?
Well, two things come to my mind. First and foremost is the to put it politely, the naivety of a professional player to think that you can plan a career. You can't plan a career. You might wish to, but you never know what's going to happen. Could be a big injury, could be a new manager coming in, could be being maligned. Timing is everything in football. I've spoken to enough professional players and managers who tell me that on a regular basis, and I think the naivety of David Luiz to think that he will finish his career at Benfica and just use Arsenal as a springboard. And another thing that comes to mind is jobs for the boys. The fact that we used to have a really strong board that were custodians of Arsenal Football Club. They didn't just take their responsibilities seriously because they were in a very good job. They actually cared. And I look at the board we have now, and it just seems to me that they're all happy to be in a job. And they might have nice sound bites, like Raul, for example, with Arsenal's a different knock. But things like that don't really, cut through, if you like. And as I said before, it starts with the owner for me. When you've got an owner where it's quite clear that Arsenal are not his priority, then it trickles down to all the other levels in the football club. When you've got an owner spending, I think, a quarter of a billion or more than $1 billion on a stadium in Los Angeles for the LA Rams, then you know where his priorities lie. They're not with Arsenal, are they? And it trickles all the way down. And I think that I can understand the confidence and passion of people thinking about the Premier League starting up, but I'm looking forward to football restarting, of course. But we never seem to learn from our mistakes. To give you one final example, I see lots of Arsenal fans on Twitter advocating, £50 million for this player, £80 million net spend to play with over the summer. We're in a global pandemic where some countries have had shortage.
Oh, right.
There is.
James, your audio has gone. Your audio, we can't hear you. So I think, yeah, okay, there you go. IG, a rude bone of contention. David Luiz, age 30, 31, 24 million pounds. That could have been better spent somewhere else. I don't know what your thoughts are on David Luiz, IG.
Well, to bring a defender last season and letting William Saliba go on a year of loan to Saint Etienne back was a crime in itself. But
Yeah.
the problem is the whole situation actually the whole situation actually arose because Laurent Koscielny wanted to force a move away. So we actually never wanted a defend. We definitely wanted to shift our defensive forces from Mustafi to a youngster maybe, but that was not happening. And I think the timing of Koscielny's departure was really bad, and it was David Luiz was a desperate signing. They needed a defender to get into the squad. They had less number of defenders to go through the season. So I think in that sense, David Luiz at that moment of time made so much sense, not because he could be helpful, but because he could be a squad player. But he's now become so integral to the defense, which is quite strange. And the best part that he can actually add to any team's formation would be in a back three, because he's a guy who's creative. He's a guy who will take risk, and he's not a guy who will defend. He definitely isn't the kind of defender who will defend. So I think that is there. But the figures that you mentioned, I actually read a report from Kia Jurabchian, the agent of David Luiz. He has said that he has not taken 6 million for, he has just taken 10% of that. And the whole amount that you're mentioning is fake. And the whole report was then scrapped off from internet as well, because he has taken 10% of that. And judging by 120K a week is what David Luiz earns at Arsenal. He has probably earned 6.4 million. And 8 million was his the fee that we paid to Chelsea. So I think it was a little overblown and overhyped number. Yeah, please go on.
But IG, even if I paid £1 for David Luiz, he hasn't improved the squad. He's not improved us.
He was a panic buy.
But we didn't need to buy him because we had enough cover in the midfield. We didn't need to buy him.
I agree. I think we actually made a last ditch bid for Dio Upamecano, which Leipzig did not take. 60 million pound bid was made. They did not take it. And right now his value, he's actually entering his last year. After June 30th, he would be entering in his last year. So Leipzig would be forced to sell him. So they did not take it. We were trying for Dio Upamecano till the end. We did not get him. So I think David Luiz was a panic buy, and we are just taking all the repercussions because of signing him. He was definitely not the right choice, but he was a panic buy.
Yeah, James, sorry, your signal went off. Do you want to finish off what you were saying about?
Can I? Yeah, sorry about that. Technology, my end. So I do apologise.
Okay.
What I wanted to say before the line went funny was I see a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter advocating an 80 million net spend in the summer, and spending lots and lots of money on different players. We're in a global pandemic where certain countries have not had the necessary protection that they need, and I think it's very churlish to think that clubs will go out and spend big. And we've got two defenders in Daniel Ballard and Zach Medley. There's no reason why they can't be brought into the first team squad for next season. There is no reason to go out and spend £50 million on a central defender. There's no reason to do it. I can understand the clamour. I really can. But people have to look at the cold, hard facts. We are not going to win the league anytime soon. I mean, it's already been 16 years, and it will probably be a fair few more. The most important thing Arsenal have to do is to build a spine. To build a spine from front to back of a team at price. The thing that worries me is that people say, they look at the price tag of a player and they think, he's only worth £50 million. He can't be that good. But as we've spoken about Sheffield United in the past, John Fleck was a free transfer from Coventry City. Sheffield United are on the verge of European competition. and they had players playing in League Two not so long ago, which is the third tier of English football. So if they're coached properly and understand their jobs properly, and above all, respect one another, can be achieved.
Yeah. Jonathan, a quick question to you. Do you think it's time the Premier League has a limit on the amount of salary that players can have in the Premier League? Or do you think let them earn as much money as they want?
Hard question. I think the market will regularize that, because in this moment, we're in a pandemic moment. So I think it will be done by itself.
Right.
The same market will be in charge of it. So I think it's not necessity to put some rules with this kind of rules, because maybe the Premier League could lose some competition against the other leagues. But I think that the same market will be in charge of it, because in this moment the war is transforming. So I think.
Aji, what do you think? Do you think it's time that we cap the salary of players? Because we have one player, now number 10 is on an enormous amount of money. I didn't say his name.
We don't need to actually.
Yeah.
We don't need to take his name. But I think this whole situation of a pandemic, and we all are waiting for football. And I have a quite different idea to answer your question. I believe that these footballers right now deserve that kind of wages. No, I'm not taking the name, and I'm not defending that player as well, because he has to step up and actually justify that amount. But talking about a lot of players who are earning a lot amount of money, 350K a week, 300K a week, I think they're putting their life on the line, even in this pandemic situation, just to bring entertainment for us. So I think they deserve it. I think they deserve it, because being a footballer is not an easy job. I think for just a 90 minutes of fitness level, you need to train a lot. I think these guys go through a lot, and they get fame, they get a lot of money. They should be wise enough to use it in a proper way, channelize it in a better way. But other than that, I think they deserve it. But it's just what they do with it is what is important. We see youngsters like Jack Grealish. We have initially discussed that on this channel platform as well. So I think they need to be responsible with it, but I think they deserve it.
Yeah. James, quickly, do you think there should be a salary cap for the players?
In an ideal world, yes, but unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world, and it will all come down to freedom of movement, and one offering more than the other. And that's another thing which has really gone under the radar. Arsenal used to have a real stringent wage policy, and for the wrong characters, it appears to have been completely blown out of the water. I can understand it being blown out of the water for the right characters, but not for the wrong characters. We have Ozil on 350 grand a week. Can any of you remember the last time he scored a goal? Can any of you remember?
He scored against Newcastle.
He scored a goal for Arsenal.
He scored against Newcastle this season.
Okay.
And that was over a year. His previous goal was over a year.
And when was that, IG?
A year before, I guess, against Leicester. Leicester.
Yeah.
So
it's very old.
So last October, last November.
Yeah.
Last October, last November, and he is our attacking midfielder. That tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? I've mentioned him before, Todd Cantwell at Norwich. I've rated him for a long time. He's been more productive than Ozil. Wouldn't cost half as much as what Ozil would, and will give a lot more for the shirt, I think. And this is what I mean about identifying characters going forward. Stop looking at price tags. Stop buying names. Just really dig deep. Go into the previous of a player, transfers of a player, characteristics of a player, all the resources that clubs have now. There really is no rush, but we've got to get it right going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Right, let's,
can I add a very small point to what James said? James, I completely agree with that. And to add to that, I think Sevilla, I think appointed Monkey as their technical director,
mm,
and they have had an unbelievable amount of players coming in for free transfers on loan and everything, and now
Mm.
they are third in La Liga, and they've been unstoppable. I think
Yeah.
they have remarkably improved, and I really like that. You know, you know, obviously you
Mm.
don't need to buy players who are we've bought Martinelli. Now that signifies a very good amount of a future prospect. Now even if you're buying players who are not that expensive, you need to see what qualities, what characters do they bring to the team. Is it pace? If it's not pace, is it the dribbling? If it's not dribbling, is it the creativity? If it's not creativity, do they
Mm.
defend well? Like, these are all the things. I think James completely agreed. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
All right.
And just to reiterate on what IG just said there, how close was Monchi to signing for Arsenal under Unai Emery? Extremely,
Very
Very
close.
extremely
much.
close. Where
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
some people thought the deal was done. Now, okay, I know it wasn't, but in a parallel universe, can you imagine if that deal had have been done? I'd wager Emery would still be manager of Arsenal now.
Yeah.
No, not just because of Monchi, but the fine lines, the way that Arsenal could not get that deal for some reason over the line. Sevilla
Mm,
did, and as IG rightly says, they're in fantastic form, great player turnover, and third in La Liga. I mean, winning the derby is no mean feat. It's always an extremely difficult game, especially after not playing for such a long time. But yeah, Monchi came very close to Arsenal, and it really is a case of what might have been.
yeah. Anyone's just watching now, the first usual talk in almost 2 months. I've got James Rowe, I've got IG, the Minister of Information. I've also got Jonathan from Colombia, Ghana as well. I want to say a big thank you to Colombia, Ghana, and the forum for putting Jonathan forward. First, it was going to be Elbert, and then it was going to be somebody else, and
Yeah.
eventually, I think we got the right man. We got
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Right, so let's quickly go into the chat and see what people have been saying. So let's see here. We've got some up. Yeah, we've got somebody called Phil Busby. I recognize Phil. He is a sports writer, and he also he told me this week that he's starting his own. I think actually he's a blogger or he's a vlogger. But I'll leave the link for his website at the end of this particular podcast. And I've got yes, the man who was supposed to be originally on the podcast, Elbert. Says hello. I'm watching from Colombia, and we are watching you from London, Elbert. And then we've got again Phil says hi everyone, and then we've got Stan the geezer,
Hi, Phil.
the accountant, part of the mafia of Canal 4 TV. Says good morning from Vancouver. Good to see Canal 4 TV back. Thank you, Stan the man. And then we've got David Lewis, and now being linked with Thiago Silva. The Arsenal retirement home is now open for business.
Mm.
Oh dear. James, we never learn our lesson, do we? We
No.
never learn our lesson. It's one thing to
No,
bring in.
but
Go on. Sorry, James.
but it's again. I go back to my point. Jobs for the boys. That's
Yeah.
what it appears to be at this precise moment in time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It appears to be jobs for the boys, and yeah, we just have to kind of stick it out. I think we can take a lot of heart of what. Do you remember Liverpool when they had the American owners Hicks and Gillette?
Yeah.
Where their fans were at their wits' end. Their fans were just they couldn't take it anymore. And then a new owner came in, and the new owner actually was also American based, but you could tell they cared. And now look at them. And as much as I love Arsenal with all my heart, and I'm excited about watching the games and excited to talk on Cannon Fodder to Jonathan and IG and Terry and all the rest, from my own point of view, until a new owner comes in, it pains me to say it, but until a new owner comes in, not much progress will be made, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, dearie
I
me.
think.
And I've got Juan Camilo Castillo, who says, hi from Colombia. We keep hiring old players. Yes, they have experience, but we need to sign trained and competitive players. We've said many times it's about the mentality of the player. We don't need soldiers just for the summer. We need soldiers for the whole season. The season is long, IG. It's a long old season. We can't have players just turning up in the summer. Well, there's no football in the summer, is there? It's a different story. Okay, and then we have let's see, Alfiex 777 says he was a bet that didn't pay off. Jonathan, you're right. David Luiz, it was a bet.
A very expensive, an expensive
A
one.
very- yeah. God dare me.
I just realized it today. Is it true? For us in Colombia, and our discussion is, oh, David Luiz came for free, and okay, just a big salary, but for free. But it's not true.
1 peso is sufficient for David Luiz. Hopefully, Saliba will do better next season. IG, would you have allowed Saliba to go back to Saint Etienne to prove himself, or would you have demanded him to come and fight for the cause at Arsenal?
Well, I think that wasn't a choice with Arsenal management, was it? Because Saint Etienne sold the player only on the premise that he could be loaned back to them. So I think they could have, it was a premise that they actually put out to any team who were actually looking for Saliba. No team had a choice. They had to loan him back. So I think if I had, I would definitely kept Saliba at least. Played him in an FA Cup game, or at least the game that we lost against Liverpool, the Carabao Cup match. I would have played him there at least. I think we could have, but I think that was not a choice. We didn't have a choice.
Did he feature in any of the two friendly games against Brentford? And did he play, Saliba?
No, he cannot. He cannot play. According to rules, he cannot play.
Yeah. Okay, more in the chat. Standard Geese says Chelsea are spending big bucks.
And a lot of rumors that are not good for us, but not good for us.
Just to elaborate on what Stan's saying there, they're not just spending big, but look at the players they're signing. Ziyech, arguably the best player in the Netherlands in recent years in his position. Timo Werner can find the net from any angle at Leipzig, and thereafter Ben Chilwell, who in my opinion is the best left back in the league. So again, it's the fact of identifying who they want and going for it and getting the deal over the line. Arsenal used to do that. We don't appear to do it anymore. But Chelsea are getting their business done early because obviously they've identified who they want, and it'd be very interesting to see how they manage those players going forward.
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea deserve to spend on strikers because they've been suffering from it. From the days of since Diego Costa failed, Alvaro Morata failed, Abraham. It looks convincing, but I think he could have had a lot more goals this season had he had a little bit more experience. But I think that they deserve to spend at least on the striker role, and definitely I think the fullback positions that they have. I mean, defensively they don't have a better fullback. Definitely attacking wise, Alonso is decent enough, but not good enough. So I think they deserve to spend, and also they're linked with Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen as well. So they're linked with a lot of big money players.
Controversial chap. I'm saying nothing. I'm going to say nothing.
We can sing.
Well, I'm not going to sing for anybody. I don't agree with James at all on this point. We need to invest in teams. Much of our young guns just ain't up to the task of playing for the first team. James.
I think he's saying about Zach Medley and the other defender.
Daniel Ballard.
Yeah.
Emil Smith. People forget Emil Smith Rowe was playing in the Europa League last season and played very well in the Europa League last season. He's now being coached under a tremendous manager in Danny Cowley. You know, he's a fantastic manager, Danny Cowley. He'll be a Premier League manager within the next 3 years, in my opinion. I respect Stan's opinion, as I do every Gooner, but I just think we've had so many years of getting rid of young players only to see them flourish elsewhere or go on to improve their careers. You know, we've got the opportunity to put that right now. I mean, the wrangling regarding Saka, for example. You know, he's the best. He could well be the very best left back we've had since Ashley Cole, and we're at a risk of losing him at the moment through perhaps penny pinching or not doing things properly. And there's no reason why the good players of that under-23 team can't come into the first team squad and gain first team experience. There's no reason why not.
Yeah, totally agree.
You know, they could go on. You know, we're always looking at the price, always looking, but the answer could be very much closer to home. But let's give them a chance anyway. Yeah. What have we got to lose? I don't mean to sound pessimistic. We have nothing to lose. We're not going to win the league anytime soon. People are clamouring for Europe when we got knocked out of the last 32 this season. You know, things have got to add up. Hopefully, we have a season next year of just domestic football, and I believe it will do us the world of good. No distractions in Europe. You know, one game a week, putting out the best team home and away, and giving young players the opportunity. So I think it's about finding a good balance. I would much rather these young players get a chance than the likes of Suarez, who's yet to appear for Arsenal, Pablo Mari, who was playing for NAC Breda here in the Netherlands as recently as I think 2 years ago. And you know, give our youngsters an opportunity. What's the worst that can happen? We might find a few gems in between. You don't know until you give them a fair shot.
Yeah. Okay. Again, back into IG. Did you want to say something?
Well, it's I think to elaborate, I think it's as whatever James said. I think I just want to add. It's not just the defenders. There are lots of talent like Sam Greenwood, Trey Coyle, Miguel Aziz, Emil Smith-Rowe, Fodder Balogun. Fodder Balogun is touted to be the next Aubameyang. I mean, he's raking so many goals. I mean, we've got a lot of talent, and I think if they don't get a chance, they know that they can go to the Bundesliga and tear it apart.
Yeah.
They could be the captain of Bayern Munich at this moment. You know.
Alfie 777 says you have to take into account the Emery situation. What situation are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? You need to elaborate a little bit more on that. Okay, just a couple more before we move on to the next segment. We are going to play heavily for letting Sven Mislintat go. A very big mistake. Listen, only time will tell. And one more, and there's a whole load of comments in the chat. Just one more before we go into the next. From my co-host and my brother, he says, "Evening, guys. Great to see you all, and hope you are all keeping safe and well." Raz.
Cheers,
right.
Ralph.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Somebody want to say something? No. All right. So next part of the segment was James Rowe. James Rowe has done. He's done absolutely fantastic. 60 odds. Believe it or not, 60 odd. I think maybe 66, 67 interviews.
65 from the 16th of March.
There you go. There you go.
Including the likes of Simon Barker, Assistant Chief Executive of the PFA, Jamie Carragher, formerly of Liverpool and England, Kevin Ratcliffe, Kevin Campbell, Will Fox. So yeah, really, really pleased. And the latest interview with Warren Feeney was released today, and Jamie Carragher will be released on Monday, and then Kevin Campbell as well towards the end of next week. So yeah, really excited to see how they are received. But you know, you just have to be as professional as you can be, and know that you're dealing with professionals at all different levels, and you know, to tailor-make the interviews and to make them special and to make them positive it's a huge challenge at times. But yeah, it's a privileged position to be in, and I'm looking forward to how future interviews are received.
Okay, fantastic. Again, you've got to go over. I will leave the link to James Rowe's Twitter account in the comments, and just look at the names of the players that he has interviewed. Is absolutely fantastic. You know, I'm not going to spoil it. You go over, check out his Twitter account, and you will see for yourself the body of work that James Rowe has created out there. Fantastic, James. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Before we continue,
Thank you.
Jonathan, who is your team that you support in Colombia?
Deportivo Cali.
Ah, okay.
You know,
Okay.
I'm from Cali, so Deportivo
Okay.
Cali is.
Okay. Oh, I support Medellin.
Really?
Yeah, because of my wife.
It's a similar team in the league, in the table. You know, we're almost.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to talk about Man City versus Arsenal. You know, the first game match next week. IG next week Wednesday.
Next week Wednesday, yes. Big game coming up. I think this. I'm looking forward to this game just because I think this game could mark a lot of points. In Arsenal's perspective. Number one being, can Arteta stamp his authority? Now he's got enough time to at least. I'm just saying. Can I just say that? These are the points that I'm looking out for. I'm not, forcing. I'm not expecting them to do it, but I'll just look out for it. And also, I really like to see the subtle changes that within the formations. It's master versus the apprentice. So I would love to see who will topple whom, and if it's a draw, I just want to see. I just want to enjoy what exactly Arsenal has been doing in this quarantine period.
Okay. Before I go into another guest, there's just a chat that's come in, and it's from Giglio, who says, "I'm watching you guys with my son, who's 22, who supports Manchester United. Can you please tell him we won the league at Old Trafford?" I'm sorry. Yeah. Moving on. Go on, IG. Go on. You want to say something, IG?
I think we Arsenal fans have our own pain. We just don't want to see or mock any Manchester United fan anymore.
No? Jonathan, we're back in action next week against Man City. How are you feeling about that?
My God. It's a match to show attitude and a strong mentality. It's a special one for Arteta, a really special one. But for us, or for me as a fan, I don't know, the last 6 matches against Manchester City, we have lost, and 3 of them 3-0. I don't know. There is not relevance in the history or not all the time, but I don't know. I think that we need to go for a. I know this is not good to say it, but I think we need to go for a draw. A draw is necessary in this moment to start the way, and something that is very funny. The new assistant for Pep Guardiola, the name is Juan Manuel Lillo, and he used to be manager in 2 teams in Colombia, Nacional and Millonarios, and he didn't well. So I hope that it helps. I hope it helps. But definitely, I think we have to go with La Cauba. I know that this is very special for me and for my colleagues, but La Cauba, La Canauba is a special link for the team. Is what we see in the Instagram and in every news. I think La Cauba it's necessary because that is a strong relationship and a link. And if this moment we start with that, we think it could be great. But the truth is that it's very difficult. A draw is enough for me. It's enough.
Oh my goodness, James. Man City.
Well, first and foremost, I think Jonathan's made the best point of the entire pod so far. Jonathan just said that Wednesday is about attitude and mentality, and I think that's a tremendous point because that is exactly what it's about. It's attitude and mentality. We're not playing football for such a long time. We are currently 9th. We've got to try to be positive. We've got some difficult away games coming up, away at Southampton, away to Brighton, also at home to Norwich, who's fighting for their lives. And we start with a very, very difficult team. And as IG says, it's master against apprentice. But I think the biggest difference is that the master has so much experience and the apprentice has very little experience. and the small details at that level can be decisive. I mean, I'm hopeful of a positive result, but I think it'll be more heart than head, I think.
Yeah, I tend to concur with you, James. I think there's going to be maybe a heartbreak Wednesday come that game. IG, what can we honestly do against Man City? What can we do? Come on.
I think if I don't see a defensive blunder, I will be the most happiest person on earth as an Arsenal fan. If I think definitely we're going to start David Luiz and Scott Mustafi, and that's like Manchester City already have 4 chances even before starting the game. So
Yeah.
I think if I don't see a defensive blunder, if these guys show some sort of discipline, I'd be happy. Even if Arsenal loses, I'm at least confident that going a lot, having a lot of away games coming up. I think if we show up, at least fight for the badge, and at least don't play as if you're an average player. Play as if you're playing for Arsenal. I mean, it stands for something. So at least have some respect and do something for the badge and definitely for the team.
Yeah. Ah, dearie me. But quickly go back into chat again. There's just been a plethora of comments that's just come through here. Again, I've got Alfiex saying that really again that the biggest mistake we made was to let Sven Mislintat leave. And then I've got Phil again saying how first time I've tuned in, quality stuff. Thank you very much for that. Christian Castro says, regards from Bogota, Colombia. Once a Ghana, always a Ghana.
Yeah.
Yay. Eso. Muy bien. And then Elwood says, maybe we don't have yet the, I'm not sure what's in 8 years for bringing in young players. Wenger was a specialist in that. Wenger is not here now. We need to compete in the market if we want to win the Premier League. It's not going to happen for quite a while. We've got to see the change, like James said, from the top.
From the top, all the way down. I was thinking about it the other day as well. Obviously, me and Alex are a little bit older, but I was thinking about it the other day. Arsenal went between 1953 and 1971 not winning a league title. Between 1971 and 1989 not winning a league title. And we won our last league title 16 years ago. So we've had periods in our history of that amount, but I don't think any Arsenal fan thought in the modern day that it would happen again. And it really, I saw a quote a couple of weeks ago from the I can't remember the fellow's name, but the African, I think one of the richest men in Africa who's linked with buying Arsenal. He's been linked with buying Arsenal for a long, long time. And I saw a video clip with him where he stated that in 20... Yeah, thank you, IG. He's not called the Minister of Information for nothing, is he? He's top class. Top class. And I saw a snippet where he said that he's going to launch a bid, I think in 2021 for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And the people that were questioning him said, "Why are you waiting until 2021?" He said, "Well, I'm a businessman and I've got other businesses to run and other responsibilities." So, at least he appears to have his head screwed on. And this is where, maybe we're going to have to wait a little bit of a while before things do progress. But I know it sounds cliche, but we just have to take it one day at a time. And, I didn't think that, 16 years is a long time. Yes, we've won a few FA Cups, which is very nice. But, we are a football club who has won the English Football Championship / Premier League 13 times. Only Manchester United and Liverpool have won it more than us. And, so we are a huge club. We mustn't forget that. But we're not acting like a huge club at the minute. We're acting like a club at the minute who's waiting for something. And as IG said, those players on Wednesday, they've got to play for the badge. They've got to show something, because it can't just be stepping out on the pitch on Wednesday just as a start to finish the season. And Arsenal finish mid-table and then they all go off on holiday, for example. We need something to salvage this season. The FA Cup is also going to be extremely difficult away at Bramall Lane. So you got to take the rough with the smooth. But I think we've got a few more rough periods ahead before the smooth comes along.
But James, here's a dichotomy for you. That maybe the players, they are playing for the badge. Maybe they are playing for the badge. That, you know, Arsenal have become such a team where it's mediocre. We're a mid-table team. The players don't have the right mentality. Maybe what you're seeing, they are playing for the badge. And that's what Arsenal has become. A team full of mediocre, soft-willed, soft players. Maybe they are playing for the badge.
I just think they're too comfortable, Alex.
Yeah.
I just think they obviously love living in London. Obviously, it's a magnet of living in such a world city. Must be amazing. But then we've got the likes of David Luiz signing for Arsenal, obviously staying in London, and obviously, you know, happy days for him. And then no sooner is it a strange spell, and he's talking about finishing his career at Benfica. You know, we've got to just strip it back a little bit, and there are going to be things that Arsenal fans don't particularly like. But I think Arsenal fans, young and old, they would much prefer a 360 turnaround and young players and players that are really hungry rather than just the comfortable players. Because we've had many, many years of just players being comfortable and it hasn't really got us anywhere. So we've got to change tact and hopefully little bit by little bit, you know, we're going to be inching along. But we're in it for the long haul and we just have to take it one step at a time.
Yeah. Before I continue in the chat, Jonathan, with the current squad Arsenal has there, have you identified any players that you think need to be moved on, need to be sold?
Oh my God!
And you can only choose 8.
You know,
Only 8?
I only can choose 8. Oh my God! There is a player that you know that everybody have loved in some moment. I have loved him a lot in a lot of times, and I have a chance. We got but I think it's moment. I think it's moment for Ozil to let another person to help us. I think I know this is terrible, but it's something. It's part of the truth.
Jonathan, I think I love it. Something to tell you.
I love it. I love it that his first choice is Ozil.
and it's because the wage, you know, the salary. We need that money to another player. Benefit against salary is not enough.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. We had a discussion and a strong discussion last night. What has to be the midfield for this match? And I would like to understand why. What do you think? Because it's hard, you know. Did you see the matches against Brentford and that we played? Did you see what Arteta played? And
I didn't see the match. I only saw the results.
Okay, the results and the summary, you know.
Yeah. So guys, get a question. Who do you think should be the midfield? James.
Well, I just think. Well, it's a hard one because it's been such a long time, and you don't know what they're trying out. And obviously, I'm not entirely sure. I think if I was picking a midfield for Wednesday, I would go with Xhaka and Ozil. I would, but the only reason why I would go for those two, is the experience they both have. Okay, they're both not before the corona outbreak. They wasn't particularly on great form, but they've both got a lot of club experience and, more importantly, international experience. And Wednesday is a big game, so you'd hope that they could draw on their experience. And that is, I'm not saying in terms of talent, because I think both long term have to be moved on. But I think if you just sticking to what you know, drawing on the big occasion, the big games, their experience could be key. And I would go in that case for Xhaka and Ozil on Wednesday.
Okay, IG, I saw your face. Who would you go with?
I think, as Jonathan mentioned, in terms of practice games, I think Willock played really well against Brentford. And against Carlton Athletic, I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles stepped up well. But judging by the looks of it and how Arteta prefers Granit Xhaka as a ball-playing midfielder, I think Granit Xhaka will definitely start. But alongside it, I think Torreira does a very good job. Torreira does definitely a very good job. So I think I would love to see Torreira and Xhaka in the midfield.
That is something important. I don't know, and we don't know if Torreira is fit because I don't know. I have been looking for news and I don't know anything about him. I didn't see any pictures.
He's doing a lot of contact training, and definitely I think the ball work as well. Not as match fit as the others, and I think he wasn't included in the practice games as well. So I think, to make your point, I think Granit Xhaka may play alongside either Willock or Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
I think I have a funny feeling that Arteta will play Ozil in the midfield as well. I mean, Christ, they played together, didn't they? Arteta and Ozil. So, but yeah, I think for me, Jonathan, any combination in the midfield, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. But
oh my God,
yeah.
For me, Xhaka, Torreira, and Ozil. For me, Xhaka, Torreira, and Ozil. I think Xhaka and Torreira could help Ozil.
What about Guendouzi?
Guendouzi is also an option, and Willock. You know, Guendouzi, Xhaka could be an option.
Jonathan, you know, those are the two players hated by Alex.
I
say the name. Yeah.
Let me go back into the chat quickly, just to wrap up this easy talk. Is the fact that recently the club releasing some of the scouts that love the club may further hinder us in the transfer market.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's from Ralph. Hi, Ralph. I hope you're keeping well. The scouts may well love the club, but sentiment doesn't get you nowhere in football, does it? Sentiment doesn't get you nowhere if they're not good enough. And what I mean by that is just the strengthening of the conveyor belt. You know, in terms of making sure that the young players are picked up at a young age and coached and given guidance. I mean, obviously, living in Amsterdam with the Ajax being one of the most famous youth academies in the world, people often say to me, "Oh, Arsenal should do what Ajax do." But I try to explain to them that when a young player breaks through at Ajax, they're given time in their natural position, and they're given support by the coaches, by the manager, teammates, and the fans. So the ethos is completely different. And the reason why I wanted to respond to that is obviously I respect Ralph's opinion, and as always, as with every Gooner, young and old, throughout the world. And I just think, you know, they may well love the club, but they've been moved on for a reason, and we've got to be ruthless now. And even if these are only small green shoots of Arsenal being ruthless, at least they're attempting to be like that, whereas before there was no movement in that area. So I welcome that, really.
Yeah. Okay, just quickly back into the chat before I wrap up this segment of the Easy Talk. I've got Guna Glenn. There's an older subscriber. He says, good to see you guys are back. Thank you, Glenn. Always supporting the cause of Cannon Floyd TV. And Christian Plasto says, go Independiente Santa Fe. Okay. And then a bit of positivity. We'll win on Wednesday, guys. 2 goals. See,
he knows
silent.
We hope. We love.
Does he know that we are playing Manchester City, or he's going to watch the Brentford game again?
Oh dear. And here's one here for Jonathan. Jonathan, friend, don't tell lies. Los Diablos Rojos mandan. Okay.
Oh no.
And another one from my brother Ralph, who says, I think the financial bubble has burst, and maybe this might be the future of honing on talent players from lower leagues rather than big name signings of the past.
Yes, yeah. or just finding a balance.
Yeah,
Look at Sheffield United. John Fleck was a free transfer from Coventry City. They're on the verge of European football. These players playing in that squad were playing in the third tier of English football not so long ago. So it's not just that Premier League football is exclusive to just a certain amount of people. If you look hard enough, you can find some excellent players. But it's about looking hard. It's not about ticking boxes. It's not being a scouting report of ticking the box and signing your name at the bottom. It's about studying, waiting, looking at all different characteristics before making your move. And this is something we've got to do going forward.
Yeah, here. Giglio's come back and says, guys, I think we'll win 3-2. Though, like Jonathan says, it'll probably be a draw. I can't see it myself. But
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah.
3-1 to Man City.
Yeah.
3-1.
That's good.
Yeah, we're away from home. We don't have a good record playing against Man City, and it'll be a bit much asked to ask the Arsenal team to get 1 point away from. No, I can't see it. 3-1. And actually,
we though are. I'm sorry to break. Cut you here. We are away from home, but they are without the fans as well. So how does that is an advantage for them?
mentality, IG. Yeah. Okay, just a couple more. Juan says, if we deserve to win versus Man City, the draw would not be right. Wow.
We agree. But
okay, and then Stanley says, for me, it's like all teams are playing away from home with empty stadiums. Yeah, but mentality, Stan. We don't have the players with the right mentality. I can't see it myself. Okay, and one more, I think, before we wrap it up. One for the guys. Okay, sorry, I pressed the wrong one. Beg your pardon. Sorry. Jose Marin says, Michael Rangel, powerful striker. Right, guys, I'm gonna call this segment the first after almost 2 months to an end. But before I do, I want to say a big thank you to Jonathan. Jonathan, it's the first time you've come onto Canfoy TV, and something tells me it's not going to be the last time. We're going to have you back again.
yeah, I hope to be here. Just some information from Arsenal Colombia. We are Arsenal Colombia supporters. We are like 350 official people in front of the club, but also we are 5,400 fans in Colombia in our pages, and there is a lot of people loving the club here and sending love to the Gunners from Colombia. It's great. It's a great feeling.
Muchísimas gracias, Jonathan.
Thank
y
you.
gracias para Colombia Gunners también en este espacio. Pero sí, estamos muy agradecidos por tener usted en este canal. Okay. Okay. James, thank you.
You're more than welcome, and well done, Jonathan. I thought a great debut from Jonathan tonight, I reckon, and I think it's caps off by making the point of the night, really, and about the attitude and mentality needing to be right on Wednesday. So very well done, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hope to be here again. I hope to see you again.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll leave the link for.
We'll definitely speak again.
Yeah, perfect. I think I'll leave the link for Columbia Gunners Forum in the comments box, and also, like I said before, James Rowe's Twitter handle also in the comments box. The Minister of Information, who also forms 1/3 of Canfoy TV Mafia, IG.
Well, always great to be a part of this, and especially Jonathan was unbelievable today. I think he is the closest that we could ever get to Unai Emery. He was unbelievable today. I think a great guy, fun-loving, and definitely passionate about Arsenal. And James, as usual, class, top quality. I think Fodder deserves to be a place wherein you deserve quality. So I think it's really great to be a part of this.
Thank you, IG. Very kind words.
Here.
IG, you want to do the outro? Go for
I would love to do it. It's been quite a long time. If I'm wrong, please excuse me. If you've been wondering whom and what you've been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world, including Colombia.
Yeah, great.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey.